Tonight, Housing Minister Richard Frederick pressed to address the details surrounding the reinstatement of his United States visa. Bail is denied for the suspect involved in the killing of a Miku man. And Parliament meets to plan the next steps for a $75 million loan from the Saudi government to fund the rehabilitation of St. Jude Hospital.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Daniela Edwin.
Good evening. It is Tuesday, September 12th, 2023. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. We are on Flow Channel and 17, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna, thank you for joining us. Minister for Housing Richard Frederick has detailed the circumstances behind his visa reinstatement. In an attempt to silence criticisms leveled by UWP operatives for over a decade, Frederick noted that the U.S. Embassy had rejected what he called misinformation and cleared him of wrongdoing.
I pride myself on speaking the truth at all times, and if they learn that, they will understand that the trap they set for me, they are actually assisting in my liberation.
The 12-year-long saga concerning the revocation of the U.S. visa of Housing Minister Richard Frederick has potentially turned a new leaf. Frederick recently made a trip to the United States, allegedly on personal business, leading to the assumption amongst observers that his travel document had been reinstated. At the time of the revocation, the minister had publicly disclosed that he had been banned from entry into the U.S. for reasons unbeknownst to him. Since that period, rumors had begun to circulate in political circles that the Castries Central MP was being investigated. Mr. Frederick has vehemently denied these claims on several occasions. Reacting to public interest about his visa status, Frederick noted that he feels liberated against the naysayers. Further, he believes that the U.S. Embassy dispelled what he claims to be untruths by his detractors.
Let me just say this. When you see you have persons, the naysayers, spreading rumors, spreading propaganda, spreading mis and disinformation, they must understand that people and persons are listening. You have a situation where United Pack and the Zelevs, so to speak, were saying a lot of stuff and were literally begging the embassy to listen. They were begging the embassy, tag the embassy. We want the embassy to listen. Well, I'm not sure, but I believe the embassy listened, because for the embassy to be drawn into what is clearly a political situation, knowing that what they were saying are untruths, the embassy sure was probably listening.
Frederick went on to take aim at former Prime Minister Alan Chastanet. Chastanet had alleged that Frederick was on a temporary visa during a trip on government business in 2022. He noted that this and other claims made by Chastanet and his supporters regarding his travel documents are all lies.
So the embassy to have heard an ex-prime minister in our most august chamber in Parliament said that I had a 3-day visa, which is so far from the truth, the embassy was listening. For the embassy to have heard one of his Zelevs saying that she dares me to take him before the Privileges Committee because I had a 3-day visa, the embassy was listening. To say that the embassy wrote the government of St. Lucia and were pissed off, to use her words, the embassy was listening. To say that the embassy said, never, ever, ever apply for a visa for Richard Frederick again, the embassy was listening. So the embassy asked themselves, which embassy you were referring to, because all of these were lies.
Questions regarding the rationale behind the initial revocation of Frederick's visa and this recent reinstatement still remain. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Queen Segis.
In related news, the reinstatement of Housing Minister Richard Frederick's visa has prompted much speculation since the announcement several weeks ago that he had landed in the United States. Frederick's visa was unceremoniously revoked in 2011 amid a scandal which federal officials were investigating. The move led to his resignation as a cabinet minister in the Stephenson King-led administration. Now, in a sudden twist of events, Richard Frederick has regained an official pass into the U.S.
News of the reinstatement of Richard Frederick's visa surfaced several weeks ago when his surrogate Shelton Daniel announced on the Thursday night talk show, Can I Help You?, that the housing minister was in the United States. Social media footage later surfaced highlighting that the move came much to the delight of the minister's supporters. The reason behind the revocation has never been satisfactorily disclosed, and attempts to address the issue continue to draw more questions than answers. Speaking on the development on Tuesday, Prime Minister Philip Pierre disclosed that Frederick was the holder of a 5-year diplomatic visa and that he had traveled to the U.S. on holiday. However, according to the U.S. State Department, a diplomatic visa is issued to diplomats and other foreign government officials traveling to the United States to engage solely in official duties or activities on behalf of their national government prior to entering the United States. They cannot travel using visitor visas or under the visa waiver program.
You know what? I never understand why a government minister who gets a visa to go to the United States for 5 years, a diplomatic visa, can be such... I mean, it baffles me. First of all, Richard Frederick went on a holiday. Richard Frederick did not go on government business. He went on holiday, he paid his money, he used his credit card, and he went to holiday. What he went to do, I do not know. He didn't tell me. What I'm going to tell you for, he went on holiday. So all those who said he went on government business, as usual, saying what they want.
Pierre also chided the press for what he says is believing their own propaganda regarding the revocation and reinstatement of Frederick's visa. The official travel document has been issued to Frederick for 5 years.
I know you're very disturbed because you believed your own propaganda that his visa was taken away from him and he never get it, but I never commented on that. But I can tell you now he has a visa for 5 years.
Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Eldridge Charles.
The Royal St. Lucia Police Force commenced investigations into the murder of Vern Joseph, a resident of Dugar Miku. On Friday, September 8, 2023, the lifeless body of the deceased was discovered near a bus shelter with lacerations to the neck region. The suspect, Julian Fellas Sonson, alias Makak of Miku, was arrested. On Monday, September 11, 2023, Julian Sonson was charged with the murder of Vern Joseph. He was presented before the magistrate's court where bail was denied and he was remanded to the Bordelais Correctional Facility. Still in the first segment of the broadcast, the POV. The POV provides you, our valued viewers and listeners, an opportunity to sound off on trending issues in the news only from your point of view. As the debate surrounding government's choice of investments to spur economic growth, we put this question to you. Do you believe that the government is more concerned with investments that benefit tourism? Here is how you responded.
No, that's not true. The government checking for everything. The government we have there, they're doing everything. They're checking for everything. I don't see they doing anything that is bad or anything. But you know, there are certain things they have to look into, especially the needy. Those that in need, that plot in the streets that in need. People that don't have enough finances. People that need help, people that need food, they have to check for a lot of poor people. They have to look for a lot of people. They have a lot of people, or the people that don't have food, people that in the streets, they have to check for the needy. People that in need, people that is sick, they have nobody to take care of them. They need to check for these people.
Thank you very much.
Yes, they need to.
No, I'm not agree with that. They're giving attention to people not tourists alone. Yeah.
And what are the things you think they've been doing for the people?
They put things for the elderly people, 80 and over. They care for health care. So I believe they are helping the public.
Anything that has to be done for the locals, it's been delayed or probably never. But once it's tourists, just say it and it's done. But even I could mention in my little own community, we don't have proper road facility. We don't have no lighting facility. When you don't have proper road and proper lights, how you care for the people? How? I myself tired of going and beg every time. I have to go and beg. I know that. The little money I have sometimes I have to patch and do because sometimes you don't get help from the other neighbors and. So I wouldn't say government checking for local people.
Well, I never really weigh on that, but like tourists bring in a little income. So by all means, you will always take more attention to the tourists because of that.
I see a lot is going into poverty, where poverty is concerned, the poor people. I think they are being taken into consideration. A lot more attention is being paid to them. You could hear them talking about it. Well, yes, the government is working, and I can see our government is a working government.
No, I don't agree. My reasons for saying that because they put in the people's first. In all the initiatives that the government has implemented, the people has always been first on their mind. So I don't think that the government is putting tourists before the locals.
No, not totally. Not totally. You have to give the government what's due to them and what's not due. Not totally. Maybe a little more can be done for the people. But the government, I think, is going in the right way for now. But they just need to do a little more, focus a little more on the people. That's it.
Coming up next, the leader of the opposition criticizes government over what he says is borrowing money in the absence of a plan. And the Minister of Education stresses a zero-tolerance approach to school violence. Stay with the broadcast for the details to these stories and more. We'll be right back.